Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here with session 22 of the Beneath the Banner's Shadow campaign. This is kind of an Arthurian Dungeons and Dragons 5e campaign. Tonight's chapter is called Sweet Sorrow. This campaign has been phenomenal so far. It's been going on for 2 years, and I think we're getting really close to hitting the main plot that I planned so long ago. Close. We're almost there. No, I don't mind it at all in complete honesty, because every time we sit down with these characters, their story is so enthralling that I cannot wait to hear more and learn what's going on with them. But before we do that, a couple of points of business. The first and foremost is this is an adult game. These are all adults who are playing this game. If you find adult language, adult fantasy, and adult topics something that bothers you, then you really should not watch this game. It's going to offend you. You've been warned. Also, I want to thank Rachel Ayers. She is the artist that designed the majority of the shields that you'll see throughout this campaign, including the one that you can see beside me. Baron hopefully will be joining us at the break. So thank you, Rachel, for the fantastic work that you did. It really helped a lot to visualize all of these different varied houses and at least kind of have a place to start with them. So thank you. I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can introduce themselves, tell you where you can find them, plug whatever they'd like to plug, etc., and then I think we can get started. So, first up, we're going to start over here with Eli.
Hello, everybody. This is Eli Kurtz. I'm playing Sir John Lightenor, a human fighter, and I'm very groggy from a camping trip, so I might not be my usual high-energy self tonight. But I'm excited to be here. It's going to be fun to scratch the surface of that main plot after 2 whole years. And thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm a human.
Well done, Eli. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Steve.
I also can words. So it's nice to be back. Looking forward to the game. It's been a long time since I hung out with Jeremy. It's been like 24 hours. Since we did Sun to Earth last night. It'll be real fun to see if we can not scratch the surface of the actual plot tonight and just continue on with all of the side shenanigans. But I'm looking forward to it.
Shenanigans will be had. I am certain of it. We may even roll dice. I know. Hold your horses. But who knows? We could get wild. You've been warned. I told you. All right. Next up, we have Josh.
Hey, everybody. I'm Josh. Unlike Eli, I'm not a human. I am actually a robot. But tonight, I'm going to be reprising my role as editor after missing last week. Just wanted to say it's very nice to be back with all these lovely people again. The baby is doing very well. Thanks to anybody who reached out to me for that. Not too much. Let's get back into it.
Excellent, dude. I'm so happy to hear that. It was a good reason to miss last month. Very, very good reason. I'm glad that everything went smoothly. All right, next up, last but certainly not least, at least for the moment until the break, Karen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen. I have a channel called Myth and Gears where we sometimes do stuff. It's been a while, but we just wrapped up a long time campaign, Black Sails and Dark Skies. So yeah, that was kind of bittersweet to say goodbye to that one. You never know. Maybe we'll come back to the world at some point. But yeah, you can go check it out. Tonight, I get to play Ariana Shiel. Very excited. I, too, am wondering what kind of shenanigans we can get into that makes this trek that we're heading on even longer. Because, this whole 2 years to just get to scratch the surface has been wonderful, and I would love to see many, many more. So with that said, and it's very good to have you back, Joshua. I missed you last month. And I'm pretty excited to carry on tonight. So yeah.
Fantastic. And carry on we shall. Anybody who mentioned a channel, you should be able to find the links to those channels in the description of this video down below. Please do go check them out. Share the love. Like, subscribe, throw hearts, whatever it is that the app uses. Go nuts. They're all fantastic people. And, yeah. I was going to impersonate Baron for his intro, but I don't think I will. I think I'll let him impersonate himself later. Anyways. Alright, so unless there are any questions, we can go ahead and get started. Alright. It is when you have a respite from the toil that it becomes the most difficult to press on. When faced with the understanding that you must willingly bring an end to the tranquility and peace of your reprieve, and return to the tiresome ordeal before you, one's will is truly tested. This is made all the more difficult when our loved ones, who we must also leave behind, as we take the next step upon our journey, that we not only leave comfort, but that we also leave the comfort of their company. The events surrounding the tournament in the capital city of Malrich are winding down. There's already a noticeable difference in the population of the city. There's nowhere near as many people in the streets or vendors at the market. And people have that kind of sullen duty to their actions, knowing that for some time the festivities and the celebration are going to be missed, that they're over with. So as this is kind of happening, this is kind of lingering over the city, and you are all beginning to prepare to leave, to head back out onto the road. Is there anything that you're doing? Is there anything in particular you're trying to accomplish before you leave the capital?
The only thing that Eddard is trying to do before leaving Malrich after all of the festivities is meeting with Reagan, because we've been in town for a couple of days, and before he leaves, he wanted to pop in and say hello, goodbye really quick. So that's pretty much the only thing he's getting up to.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. I imagine she's not overly difficult to track down. She gave you, whatever inn she was staying at. She's probably been there for some time, actually, because most of House Warrington, or all of House Warrington, has been displaced because of the plague that happened. So she, or dead. So you're able to track her down, and she's kind of set up a temporary study in like a second room at this inn. And when you knock on the door, her voice from the other side says, "Come in."
Edward opens the door and peeks his head in. He smiles, and then he walks into the room.
Edward, how are you? Forgive me, my lord.
No, don't worry about that. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Well, the time off has been nice. I haven't had to attend court for many days now because of the tournament. It's given me time to study.
Lucky you. He kind of laughs.
Perhaps. You? Have you rested well? Have you rested well?
I've rested, but there's a lot on my mind. It's like going from one thing to another practically overnight.
I would imagine that becoming a baron is a difficult step.
Difficult, but somehow I feel like I was meant to be here. I belong here.
No, I never would have thought it, but it fits you well, Edward.
Thank you. So we're just stopping through town just for the festivities, of course, but we leave at morning.
So soon?
Unfortunately, duty calls.
Of course. You head back to... She kind of pauses. Ravenfield, isn't it?
In a perfect world, maybe. But we have matters elsewhere. We're heading east.
Ah, I see. Terrible news coming out of the east.
Yes, I made a promise to a very important person that I would do anything that they needed me to, and it's been brought forth that I need to help them out. So
It's one of the things that I've always loved about you the most, Edward. You are an honorable man, if nothing else.
thank you. I only do what I can.
You seem troubled, Edward. I mean, I know there's been a lot that you and your friends have been forced to endure.
Yes, but some things are more important than others, and that's a lesson that I've learned recently. I'm starting to let things go.
Well, if you're to be in charge of an entire barony, I'm afraid you're going to have to.
Yeah. It comes with time, of course. It's not something that I could just learn overnight, but I've been better for it.
You mentioned something about a quill before. Did you find what you were looking for?
No, I never found it, but I have a good idea of where it went. But like I mentioned, it's not as important as, well, it's just not that important.
I happened to come across this entry, and she kind of like stands up from her desk and moves over to a stack of books, kind of shuffles through them for a moment before she pulls one that's kind of got a worn, kind of green leather cover to it. She flips it open on the table and starts to thumb through it before she finds the page that she must have been looking for, and she spins the book kind of towards you. Did it look like this? And there is a sketch of what looks like your quill on the page.
And looking into the drawing, it looks like just like it down to the every detail.
So there's probably different details to the markings. Some of the markings may be a little narrower in places or a little darker in places, but it's definitely the same kind of feather.
Yeah. Yes, I would say that was it.
It's called a Quill of Recall. It's apparently a magical writing device. They say that it can rewrite anything that it has ever written before. Now, allegedly, she kind of spins the book back around so that she can now read it. They were made from the feathers taken from Firnemind, the pet owl of Pelotasha, who you know to be the goddess of wisdom. Now, if that's to be believed, it says here that there were only two known to have been made, and both were given as gifts by Mathuran Gabrain. One of them to his queen, Aelwyn Gabrain of House Vindegold, and the other... that's strange. Kind of looks puzzled.
Yeah. This is a common occurrence. No recollection of the second quill.
It just doesn't... It just doesn't mention it. It's as if it's been omitted by the author or something.
Reagan, there are things that I've learned about this surname Pendrake, this house. It seems like they've been wiped out of every memory or history book of Vykaril. Gone.
That kind of magic would be unfathomably powerful. I wonder. And she starts like grabbing little sachets of like powdered herbs and things, and kind of like she begins casting a spell. And you recognize this because I think you actually have this spell as a detect magic spell. And when she finishes the spell, kind of dragging her hand across the page, you can see faint, almost like veins in a leaf, but through the page itself. There's definitely faint traces of magic here. It almost looks like it is. It's enchantment magic. It seems to be focused around where this omission must have occurred.
The work of the quill, surely.
Perhaps.
With only two in existence, I don't see another way. This sketch must have been drawn by the quill, the entries written by it.
That could be it. Yes. Strange. Why would it write about itself and then mention a second quill, but then... I'm not sure what to tell you, Edward. I wish I could help more. I thought that this might be some good news. And she kind of shuts the book.
No, it's all information is absolutely welcome. It's like everything I've learned about this, it's all been dead ends, but eventually all these dead ends will have to tie in somewhere. Now, the other quill, I trust you. I know where it went. But with that kind of power, I don't know if it's as easy to overlook as I had previously thought.
So you've lost one, but found another. That's very strange.
I have no quill. I didn't want to buy another. I was looking for my quill. I've been looking for it for weeks.
Well, I truly do hope that you find it.
Oh,
Edward.
I did find a second quill. Sorry, it's so much. There is another quill, just like this. I saw it in a shop. I don't think the owner knew what it was, but I knew.
Very
Where were we? I
interesting.
think it was Kerwall.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, parchment shop in Kerwall. He had it on his shelf. It looked just like mine.
Interesting. I might have to track that down. If I do, would you be interested in having it as a gift? I would insist.
Well, I couldn't.
Edit, please. You need a quill to write all your stories, all the things that you and your friends are, the great deeds that you are doing.
Well, yes, great deeds I'm not sure of, but there is much to write, that's for sure.
You've gone from being a librarian's son to a baron. That's no small feat, Edit. I'll look into it, and if I'm able to procure it, then I'll let you know. And if I can get it into your hands, then it's as good as yours.
I would certainly appreciate it. You know where to reach me. He laughs.
She kind of smiles. Do be careful. If you're headed into certain danger again, just be careful, Edit.
He steps up in front of her and he bows. You have my word.
I think she embraces you. After kind of a hesitation for the formality.
Yeah, he definitely returns it.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, there's one more thing that I want to do before we leave. I guess I just wanted to mention it to everybody else because I'd already mentioned it to you.
Yeah,
but over the course of a couple of days, Eddard has been doing some recruiting. Knights of House Pendrake, and he has found 2 knights to send home to Risenflair. One of them, let me pull up the names so I can give everybody names. Why do I keep closing out this tab? I'm the worst. Okay, the current Knights of Pendrake is obviously Misaka Tord, an orcish woman by the name of Ukanka Romd, and a human lady by the name of Lynette Reiholt, and I'll put that in the chat. They are on the way back to Risenflair to claim some land given to them by Eddard and to join basically what is like going to be his round table, his inner circle of knights. And that's about it. Other than that, Eddard's getting his stuff together and ready to leave.
Nice. I'm assuming some kind of missive goes along with him to Sir Thomas Kane.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Know what's going on. Perfect.
Actually, I sent him a message.
Oh, nice. Even better.
Yeah, he hears it from my voice.
For sure. Okay. That can certainly be done without any issue whatsoever. As I said, there's plenty of knights here because of the tournament, many of which were not landed, may not even have a house that they're directly serving yet. So there's certainly plenty of eager knights, so finding them wouldn't be hard. All right. Anybody else?
The only other thing that I need to do is to go. I have to stall people in town long enough for the gifts I had being made to be made so that we don't leave. And I'm like, oh, man. Because with our luck, we won't come back. Or when we do, it'll be in flames. And they will want us here even less.
They just throw your flaming presence at you. Here's just things you bought. Filthy adventurers.
You're lucky there was money.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember of you buying for people, I don't think it was anything that would have taken.
So the longest one was
Overall?
going to be towards Shield. And that was going to take a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming
Okay.
that kind of stuff you probably, when you first got here, that was the kind of thing that you went and established and stuff. Because you guys have been here for probably almost a week at this point.
Yeah, it was right after the tournament because I needed the money to actually be able to pay for things.
There you go.
So
Cool. Okay. Anybody else?
now,
Or do you want to go ahead and do the...
well, the intention, I guess maybe I'll talk to everybody like when we're back, in the evening time for dinner or whatnot. And so our intention is to head east then. Maybe.
Ari would be completely quiet in this conversation, but I'm pretty sure Tord is going to say yeah. Speaking for Sir Tord, because
Right.
that's because I believe that's his land is
Right,
his
and
homeland
so
is
maybe
burning.
this is even more appropriate that Tord's not here right now. Like this is his friends coming together to sort of talk about the support. But so east it is. I was wondering, and you guys can say no. I know it's pretty important that we get to Tord's homeland. I was just wondering if we could make a slight detour and go and visit my parents.
Yes, of course. I think it's a wonderful idea. I should love to meet them. And besides, we should tell them firsthand that you have become a knight.
I can't even guarantee my dad will be there, but I mean, plus, with everything that's happened recently, I do have a couple of questions for Mom. The whole grandmother thing was a bit of a surprise.
Has Dane told anybody about that yet?
No,
Oh, so there you go.
no.
Your grandmother thing was a bit of a surprise. What are you talking about, Dane?
So Dane is very sort of nervously scratching this dog that he has recently acquired. He's just sort of like petting it. So my mom's sister, my aunt, she's here. I think some of you at least met her in passing momentarily. I was wandering. First, and I'll start pulling out these packages. And there's one for Eddard, there's one for Ari, and then there's a big one that's got Tord's like sort of set aside for him. Sheepishly, there is not one for Sir John right this second. But I'll push those over in front of you for you to each open. So I was out wandering to get these things for you, and I found myself down in the muds, the lower part of town, where coincidentally a lot of the women go to wash their clothes, and the washing woman came and saw me, the one that saved Ari and gave me the sword and stuff. I don't. How do I?
What
So-
would true women be doing with a sword, Dane?
Eddard,
You're losing me here.
you know how you've been struggling about your family's identity and how that affects you, and like there's just been this prolonged lack of answer.
Yes, I know what you mean.
What's the exact opposite of that? Because my aunt saw the washing woman, the lady who gave me the sword and healed Ari, and somehow is how I can. So are the gifts nice? Did you get a chance to open them yet?
No, but I'm much
You
more
should.
interested in what you're saying now.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's just holding their gift wrapped in everything.
Yeah, Ari hasn't even
And-
touched it yet.
And we're standing paying rapt attention to Dane, too, of course.
I don't. So a knight serves a lord, and a priest would worship a god. And I am somehow connected to this washing woman, and that's how I can do the things that I do. Right? It's really strange. Like that in and of itself has long stretched my mind to its limit.
Eddard leans in. So she's the source of your magic?
Either she directly or what she represents.
I see.
What has this got to do with your grandmother?
So, well, let's start with the fact that she gave me Toby's old stick turned into a sword that happens to be Camagel, which is right. She's my grandmother.
Pardon me?
The
You...
yeah, that's what the witch meant when we were talking to her previously, is that somehow this, and he holds out his sword, is some incarnation part of splinter of embodiment of the sword.
Are you fated to be king of this land?
Oh, absolutely not. I think that's way more up Eddard's alley or yours.
Whoa. I've just recently taken my seat as Baron.
If
Right,
it's
you've
more
gotten a lot further than I have.
If it's more in my realm than yours, then it is not at all in your realm. Oh,
So this is a fragment of Camagel.
I think so.
I don't mean to be rude, but this dingy sword.
Right. The one that I've polished several times and still looks like it comes out of a puddle every single time. Yes.
Incredible.
Yes. But the washing woman is my grandmother.
your grandmother. Does she follow us around?
I think she. No. So
She
it's
should
not.
Join the retinue. We'd be happy to host her.
I'm explaining this very poorly. Eddard, have you? I did in the books that I read, but you read much more important books than I did. Did you ever hear of a woman named Belligan the Fakehin?
May I roll? Would I have heard of her?
Please do. Roll,
Would you like history?
Yes, definitely history. And you could have advantage for this.
That is her name, right? I didn't just.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Elegane, I think. Elegane the Fakin.
Okay, I rolled a 21.
21. Yes. So essentially, she is the Morgan Le Fay of this realm. She was a very powerful witch, incredibly powerful, one of the most renowned spellcasters to have ever lived. And she ushered the peace in between the elves and the humans during Mathuran's reign. She was kind of like the liaison, if you will.
Well, Dane, when you put it that way, it's no wonder there's magic in your blood.
So I turned to look at Ari to see if there's any recognition, and if there's not, then I would, for the first time ever, translate Bellegana Fakin into whatever her elven name and title would have been.
All right, what does that mean to me when he says that?
So you can also roll history if you'd like and have advantage.
Sweet. So that'll be a dirty 20.
Yeah, okay. So you have also heard of this person, and I'll leave it up to you because of you having very kind of different outlooks on what happened in the history of the humans, as to kind of how you think you would interpret that, or how the night elves would interpret her. But she was a liaison between the elves and the humans a long time ago.
Like how long ago? A couple 100 years?
Mathuran Gabrain's rule was about 100 years ago, so somewhere in that ballpark, about 100 years ago. So, to be fair, not that long ago for you, just in the human
So I might even know her.
You might have met her before. It's very possible. She might have been a little more social than you were typically.
Yeah, probably. I'm thinking, okay, so when Dane translates the name, and he's probably expecting like a, oh, really? Kind of reaction. And Ari just kind of doesn't give that to you. It's almost like you've mentioned Mathuran's name instead. It's almost like the same kind of level for Ari. So you're thinking celebrity, and she just kind of doesn't give you that reaction at all. Just like, interesting.
I suppose that's a word for it. I mean, on some level, had she not done what she did, either my people or your people would be dead. But
But a lot of people are doing things about the same time. I mean, she's just one of them.
That's right. Yeah, I suppose. And 100 years ago, there were a lot of kings, but there was only one Mathuran Gabrain. Like, that's kind of where we are. Like, we're not. It's not. They're not farriers. You don't go to school for this.
They're not gods either. They're just people.
I just want to lean across the table. I literally can do magic because she lets me. Go run that by a priest.
My grandson can do magic too.
I pointed at her. Yeah, like him. Okay, yeah, so no big deal. Yeah, never mind. We'll skip the whole thing.
No, we're going to fertile ground.
Yeah, just no big deal.
So Sir John, as all this has been going on, he went through a phase where he was like, what is he talking about? And then he was like, oh, it's magic stuff. And then he was like, oh, magic like his sword. And then he was looking at his sword for a long time, and he remembered while this conversation was going on, like, oh yeah, he shines it all the time, and it still turns out tarnished and waterlogged looking. And so, kind of out of the blue, he says, what? I wonder if the state of your weapon has something to do with the quest given to us by the White Witch. I wonder if it can only be maintained if we fulfill the quest.
I may be reading too far into this, but maybe the state of the weapon represents the state of Vykaril. Look at it.
And it will take quite a bit more to clean it up, I'm afraid.
Edward, I think you have something there. I believe the White Witch was saying that it was more of a spirit of the weapon. That was with Dane. And if it's tied to Vykaril, we know how dirty and corrupt and what a cesspool this world has become right now.
It's a tea set. I hope you like it. And Dane just goes upstairs. Like, he's done with this.
What's up with him?
I don't know. He didn't even stick around for us to open our gifts. Should we wait until tomorrow?
The top of the stairs, he just hollers back, and you'll get yours later, Sir John.
I don't even have a gift.
Listen, John, Ari, he's going through a lot. I don't know if you remember when I found out what I was, that the constant longing to understand and finally something to go on, it's a lot for him. We have to go to Fertile Ground.
Very well, no question.
I was not disputing that at all.
But if you're wondering about what may be going on in his head right now, I've been there, and it's not easy.
How
What
did
does he
you
need?
get past it?
Answers. He'll find them there when we go. Hopefully.
Then we should leave in the morning.
Agreed. The East won't wait, so we must be up.
I think if there's a way to sort of engineer it so that Lord Eddard goes to bed before the other two of us, I have a quick aside I want to make to Ari.
No, we don't have to engineer it. It was a long day in court.
Of course. So yeah, Lord Eddard goes up to bed, and Sir John kind of watches him leave. And without looking at Ari at the beginning, he remarks, so we have a descendant of King Mathuran Gabrain and a descendant of Belagain the Feykin in the same group, seemingly by pure chance. It's remarkable.
I do not think chance is the word we're looking for here. There's a reason we all met each other. That I am sure. This is like an old story. Well, for you, an old story. For me, it was like I grew up with this stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if you turned out to be, a descendant of Roderick, that was right there with them.
As long as I'm not made to do much.
Oh, Sir John. What are we going to do with you?
Ideally, let me practice the blade and the halberd.
Oh, speaking of which. And she turns into her pack, and she actually pulls out this kind of a package. It's wrapped in a fairly nice silk cloth. It's about maybe a foot long, half a foot wide, and she hands it carefully to you.
I take it a little awkwardly. Did everyone get gifts for each other? I didn't get anything.
Well, here is the first thing you've gotten.
No, I mean, I didn't get anything for anyone else. I feel bad. And I start to unwrap it.
And what you find when you unwrap it, it is a mirror. It's a really nice quality mirror, and it's silver framed mirror.
I pick it up and I look at it and I sort of like tussle my hair a little bit. I'm like, yes, wonderful. I cracked my mirror a few weeks ago.
I was I didn't want to see any more blood and little nicks and stuff around the campsite. It was getting a little off-putting for my meals, so hopefully you'll be able to see yourself better than in that frying pan you were used to before.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry. My appearance was objectionable to you?
No.
I thought I bathed.
And you can see she's trying very hard to reassure you, but it's not there. Like, her deception is not really good, and yeah.
Thank you. I will cherish it forever.
Oh, it's not that much of a gift, but I hope you enjoy it.
Yes, well, I shall, and I think I should probably turn in. Yes. Good night. You rest well. We'll have a lot of traveling in the morning.
Yes. Good night. Ari's all very awkward, not knowing what to say to you at this point.
I love how out of step Ari is with like everything in the human realm. It's so endearing. Awesome. Okay, cool.
I think
sorry, go ahead.
after those conversations that we had, once Sir John leaves, Ari is going to go upstairs and find Eddard. She's going to knock on his door.
He probably isn't asleep yet. So he sits up in his bed. Yes, who is it?
Eddard, it's me, Ari.
Oh, Ari, come in.
And she would open the door just kind of softly and slowly, really, and then kind of peek in and before coming in and closing the door behind her. And again, she's got that like kind of awkward, you probably haven't seen her this awkward before, but then she kind of fumbles with her pack and she pulls out, this one's a smaller little package. It's, again, probably about a foot long, but it is very thin and almost cylindrical as she passes it to you.
What's this?
It's just something I picked up for you. I thought you might need it.
He kind of furrows his brow. He looks at you. This isn't why you're here.
Yes, it is.
Ari, please be forward with me. I know you took the quill.
I did no such thing.
Listen, I saw it. I saw you with the quill running through the forest. I'm not mad at you. For you to have taken it, you must have needed it for something. And whoever it is you gave it to, or if you kept it, I'm sure they needed it more than I did. But I saw it, and I can't get over it. I've seen it every night. Just be straight with me.
Eddard, I did not take it.
Care to roll a deception?
All right.
I will put my roll in the chat.
So, Eddard, you kind of study Ariana Shiel's face as she gives you this answer, and you can tell that she's not lying to you. At least, as far as she's concerned, she doesn't think that she took this. But there's something else kind of going on, kind of beneath the surface of her countenance. Though she's very good at hiding it, you can tell that there's something about what she's not saying that is playing on her mind.
If not for the quill, for me, your friend, Edward Bainton of Warrenton, be straight with me. Something's not right here. What is bothering you?
I did not take your quill.
I'm not worried about the quill anymore.
Well, I am. Because I did not take it, but somebody did. And that is worrisome for me. And you say it was me?
I saw you clear as day running through the forest with the quill in hand.
How? With what? Because I know
Magic.
it was not me. With magic. Could it have lied to you?
Those types of spells are not often the ones that lie. It is essentially like I was there. Just my eyes, though. I saw it.
Could you have been mistaken? Just like someone... Like, do we all look the same to you?
All right, please. I have a bit more respect for elves than that. And no, they looked just like you. If it wasn't you, then there's some imposter running around that looks just like you. Somebody must have used magic to disguise themselves, and there was no garment that could cover that. It was you.
Eddard, roll a perception check for me, please.
Sure thing. That is a 19.
I think during this exchange, you noticed that Ariana Shial faltered somehow. Her eyes looked away in the wrong direction, or she flinched. Whenever you mentioned specifically someone having taken her visage, somebody who looked like her,
I don't know what to say. I hope you enjoy. I know you needed one because you've lost yours. That's all I wanted to do. And she turns to go.
Very well. Eddard sits with his present on his lap for a moment before putting it on the table and laying back down in the bed.
it's good. It's good. Okay.
Juicy.
Juicy. Like Denethor and the tomato. Excellent. Okay. We are still a little early for break, and I want to give Baron enough time. I think he should be in about another half hour or so.
So quick question for you.
Yes,
the
please.
gift that I was arranging for Sir John, I needed to. I mean, I can send you a message, but I needed to be able to magically obtain something from somewhere else. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about.
I don't right now.
All right, not a problem. I'll just
The
shoot you a message in here.
yeah, chat has a private option you can use. Or just send it to me if you want. I slept since then, and I'm old, so. Depending on what it is, you might have been able to procure it even. Ah, yes, okay. Yes, you can absolutely do that.
All right.
Yes.
So I think the next morning, when Sir John comes downstairs, whether it's his normal time or he slightly sleeps in, however it plays out. Dane is sitting at the table, his dog curled up under his feet at the floor, and there is a box, ornately carved with a sliding lid, sitting on the table in front of him. And I think you probably just see Reagan, Eddard's friend, leaving.
And it seems like the box is for me.
Oh, it definitely is, because he has like his hand on it, and he's like been probably for the last hour staring at those stairs, waiting for you to come down.
Good morning, Sir Dane. I trust you slept well.
Yeah, I slept like any other human. You know, we're all the same and unimportant in the grand scheme of things, apparently.
Very normal thing to say.
So it took me a little bit longer to get your gift. There was a piece that I still needed. I got that this morning, and it's here.
For me? Oh, you shouldn't have. I think for a second I kind of struggled to open the box. It's almost like a puzzle box situation. And then I'm like, yes. I slide it open.
All right. So inside of it is a metal clockwork eagle. And there are two crests on it. A large one that is your family is sort of on its chest, and a smaller one that is on a tiny dagger that is around the waist of the eagle, and that looks a lot like Eddard's, although it's probably not perfect, but it's so small. But he points at them. Those are our buttons.
Buttons? Dane, this is remarkable. Never seen anything like this. I pick it up and sort of like move it around, and I see my crest, and I touch it. I can push this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I push it.
And a short message, maybe 5 or so seconds long, of your mother and your father. Your mother telling you that she loves you and wishes you to come home safe. And your father saying, despite everything, that he's proud of you. And it's in their actual voices.
Date, I'm speechless. And I push the button again.
And it plays again.
This is... How did you arrange this?
Well, Eddard's friend Reagan did me a favor.
she manufactured these voices with magic.
No. She and I contacted your family
Oh,
and had them. I think the important part here, Sir John, is I just asked them to tell you something that was important to them.
what? Uh, D- Dane, this means a great deal to me.
And, on the dagger there, if you press that,
I press it.
so it starts off with different laughter, and it's yours, and then Ari's, and Eddard's, and Tord's, and mine. And then there is a bardic voice that sings the song that Eddard had written for you.
Ha! What the hell? Look at this thing. This is remarkable. I'm not quite ready to wake up yet. I'm going back upstairs. I'll be in my quarters. I'll be in my quarters. And I start to go up the stairs. I probably get like 3 steps and I turn around. Thank you, my friend.
You're very welcome.
And then I go back to my quarters.
Run from your feelings, Sir John.
Bottle them up inside.
Listen, Sir John's behind the door now, but we all are aching to know. Does Sir John cry?
And you're just hearing like one and the other being pushed after another like 10 times.
Beautiful.
I imagine that it's Sir John thinks that he's alone in his room sobbing, but I imagine it's one of those things where it's so quiet in the morning that like everybody can hear it.
I like to think that the messages from his parents are conversational level. So you could hear them if you were eavesdropping, but the song, the music, right, that's meant for people to hear. And so I think later in the day when Sir John comes down, there will be like the housekeepers for the inn who are kind of humming the song. Like they don't know the words yet, but they've got the tune kind of stuck in their head.
That actually goes off of something. I just had an idea. I was going to start writing up the lyrics to the song and handing it out to the inns that we travel to and teaching them the song. So it's called The Eagle of House Lightenor.
That's perfect.
Eddard, if you opened your gift from Dane last night, it is a journal. It is empty except for it has yesterday's date in it, and it at the top left-hand corner it says "for what's to come," and it is bound with your house colors and the dagger symbol, and there is a tiny gem that has been mounted on the front of it to be the gem and the dagger.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yours is just a tea set, Ari. It was special. It's not anymore. Jerk.
He like takes the lid back.
Yeah, now it'll never boil.
Never be complete.
Now, I think perhaps even more apropos, it is a tea set. It's a setting for 4. But it also has a sort of like that. If you remember, like back in the day when they used to have those like etiquette manuals, like how to host a tea service and have that appropriate conversation. Like that was the little book that comes with it. So maybe that's even more apropos now. So, enjoy drinking your tea by yourself. 4 cups.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. You guys are amazing. Okay. Well, I don't think Bram's ready still. Is there anything else anybody wants to do before we leave town? I have something planned for him. I know there was something that he wanted to do before we left town, and then there was something that I have planned for when you guys are leaving town, and I'd like for him to be there for that. So if you guys can think of it.
So maybe actually Ari is using the tea set in the morning when the rest come down. And what's even more I guess entertaining is that she's following the directions exactly as they were written in that little etiquette book. And so then when Dane comes down, he would, I don't know, maybe see that. Dane, can I get you some tea?
Sure. I don't suppose it matters what type of tea it is. I imagine they all taste the same.
Would that be a problem? I've made an elvish blend.
Oh. Okay.
And then she would pour it out like completely I guess the word awkwardly, like she's trying very hard to do it the way that they say, and this is just not her thing.
Cool,
Little finger out, pouring it in. Maybe she spills a little bit and like, tries to wipe it up. And then she'll pass you a cup. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. I couldn't really think of anything specific to get for you. You travel light, and I mean, as awkward as it'll come out, you've been around long enough that if you wanted something, you've had it. And the one thing that I can't do is change people's opinion of you or your people. I would if I could, but most people are more worried about labels than they are individuals. And I can remember when I was younger, my mom and my aunt would have tea by the fireplace. Nothing as fancy as this. But Aunt Candace had always, she was more cosmopolitan than Mom. And so they would have these conversations with their little pinkies out like you are, but in a mockery of the people that my aunt had seen, and she would catch Mom up on the comings and goings, and Mom would always lower her voice, and she would in kind respond to Aunt Candace. And I imagine now that my aunt was keeping Mom apprised of what was going on between the politics and the churches and the courts. And in her quiet voice, my mom was actually keeping my aunt abreast of what was actually important. The state of Vykaril and the magic. It's not to say that this tea set is a mockery, but more that I can't change how people think of you. I can't change how you think of people. But simple things like tea or ale or fistfights in a mud pit, apparently, give people reason to talk. And if people could get to know you and what you're about, they would realize that contrary to some people's beliefs, you're not just another elf. That you do make a difference, even if there are other elves out there doing things. So, good luck not breaking it. I've done that before. If you don't believe me, ask Sir John. First time that I ever had to pour him tea. He doesn't even drink tea. But there was this, after I had asked him about being a squire and he had punched that man in the face, I told him I was going to be a squire. There was still this interview, I guess you could call it, that I had to go through. And part of it was pouring tea. And leave it to Sir John to bring fine china. I'm used to clay mugs, and so I broke it. Definitely broke it. Come to think of it, though, I don't think that he actually complained. In fact, I'm pretty sure he just drank the tea with a chip of porcelain in it. Didn't say anything. So maybe he's not the type that you have a conversation with over tea. But how people do things is often as important as why they do them.
I think if you look up at this point, you'll see Ari. Ari's been very quiet since you started talking and telling her what the tea scent represents. And she's actually just sitting there staring into the cup that she has in front of her. And then when you kind of stop and look at her, she kind of, there's a couple of moments, and then she looks up and you can see her eyes are glittering. She's not crying, but you can see that they're very full.
She's glistening.
She's glistening.
That's right.
Dane, this is beautiful. Thank you. And if you ever want a cup of tea, you have one.
I appreciate that. And for what it's worth, I've never needed tea to talk to you, Ari. That's always been pretty easy.
Dane, I have something for you too. And at that, she kind of gets up and she pulls out this. It's green, it's brown. It's hard to tell what kind of color it is. It kind of shimmers and, but not, it's really odd if you're trying to focus on it. It's hard to focus on it, to be plain. But she takes it and she comes around to you and she actually kind of unfurls it. And it's this cape, not a cape, a cloak, a large cloak. And she kind of just places it around your shoulders. And you can see it's very finely made and large enough for the man you're becoming, rather than the old, worn one that's too short at this point. I'm sorry, the chat killed me. Dane, I've been noticing you growing a bit, and that cloak that you've had is not going to do it when we visit your parents. So please take this one, and I hope you enjoy it and it keeps you warm.
So I think since you sat behind him to put it on, I think he pulls the cloak a bit tighter and then grabs your hand and sort of tugs you down for a moment and just kind of backwards hugs you, right? Like he makes you hug him. Well, I guess we should get all the emotional stuff out of the way before Sir John comes downstairs. He's not really one for displays of emotion.
Yeah, and I think Ari, you've pulled her down into that hug, and she kind of like is really rigid and awkward and tries to get out of it as quick as possible. But then once that's done, she kind of turns back to you and says, "You remind me of my son. He was your age when I left him." And she can't continue on at that point.
All right, well, let's see if we can make Edward cry now.
Edward already cried.
Yes.
He didn't even know why. He just started crying.
No, he got a quill and a journal from his two buds.
Kidding.
That's right. Well, Dane's gonna set about getting stuff ready to go. That's actually, I imagine that's actually becoming more and more of a process now as we are taking more and more stuff, and it feels like more and more people each time. And I know that Sir John has his own, retinue to sort of do it, but it's also a hard habit to break. So, after finishing breakfast, Dane will head outside to start taking care of that stuff. And
imagine there's a few times that like Sir John's quartermaster has to like chase you away from getting like Sir John's stuff ready. She's like, no, you go take care of your things. We have this.
Look, I understand that you've been a quartermaster for your entire life, but I'm telling you, you're packing Sir John's things wrong. He doesn't like it that way.
Yeah, no, he likes the hairbrush here.
Right. No, you can't tie the shield down in 3 points. If he has to get to it quickly, it can only be lashed in 2.
Perfect, absolutely. Excellent. Thank you guys very much. That was masterful vamping. I appreciate that. And lots of very good feel-good moments between these characters. So I think we're going to go ahead and take our break here. That should hopefully give Baron enough time to get home. He should be able to get in here during the break so that we don't have to shuffle things around and show you guys what's going on behind the curtain. But I appreciate it very much that anybody who may be watching with us this evening, or if you are watching in the future, thank you so much. Stick around. We're going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. Go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, kiss your spouse, smoke them if you got them, etc., etc., etc. Thank you so much to the 4 of you. This has been a fantastic half a session, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen when we come back. So, sit tight, and we will be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beneath the Banner's Shadow for the second half of session 22. We now have our fifth and final player with us. Baron, welcome to the game, sir. I know that there are a few things that you wanted to take care of before we leave Malrich behind, at least for the time being. So what is that? What do you want to get up to? Oh, I can't hear you now.
different types of Zoom calls and Google Meets. Forget which hotkeys. I wanted to utilize the capital's resources to sell off an item that I picked up a while ago that I really don't think fits for me, as well as maybe try to also take advantage of the large conglomeration of people for any kind of like shadier markets available. Maybe some that deal in information of an unsavory kind. Perhaps even a magic of a pigment that they don't really like around here.
Magic of a pigment that they don't really like around here. Yes, gotcha. So a black market for possible black magic.
I didn't say that.
Of course not. No. I can say that because I'm
Allegedly.
not actually a real character. So, yes, this is the capital. There absolutely would be some kind of underground network of less savory types that deal in more illicit wares and things of that nature. Absolutely. Are you seeking out just like an individual or like an open market place?
I guess perhaps yeah, for the sake of selling the flail that anyone will do. I'm looking for someone like witchier.
That's in addition to trying to sell this, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I can knock
Okay.
two birds out with one stone, so be it.
Probably not somebody who's particularly witchy that would be interested in this item. Because the flail is, especially because it represents the virtuous divinity. I don't think many witches would be very interested in that at all. But you can certainly find a buyer for it. You find this individual who has kind of boils and scars covering the little bit of his flesh that you can actually see that's not covered by the kind of greasy rags that he wears. And he kind of looks it over, hears you talk about it for a second, and he says, I'll give you 500 for it.
500 gold pieces.
Aye.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. He kind of motions to a large guy in the corner who comes over and sets down a small chest in front of you, and turns it towards you, kind of opens the lid to show you that the coins are actually in there, and closes
Everything
it
checks
and
out.
pushes it
looks
towards you.
real.
Yeah.
Okay. Pleasure. Now, if I might proposition you two gentlemen for a question or a lead, perhaps.
What kind?
I need... Well, it seems that people I know are being looked at by things of evil magics and old spirits, nasty fae. I need help trying to outmaneuver them.
Magics that shield you, hide you? Think something like that?
Wards, information, really, anything.
If you want spells, you'll have to go elsewhere. There's a place.
No. Don't read me the wrong way. I don't want spells per se. I just need. Well, damn it, I'm tired of them here, and I want them purged off this fucking planet, especially if they're gonna threaten me. If you catch my drift.
I do not have your audio, Jeremy.
That's because I've got the button muted. That's why. So you're looking for some kind of items then that are warded, will protect you from prying eyes.
Yeah.
He kind of like scratches his scruffy chin, kind of making like an audible like noise. I might have something like that for you. But you mentioned friends, but I've only got the one.
Look, at this point I'm desperate and willing to work with what you got. I appreciate you
Right.
dealing with me on such short notice as is.
Well, you've got coin. And he kind
But
of
I
like
do.
taps the box.
Yeah, gestures.
Right. Alright. Yeah. He pulls out this amulet that he kind of like, rummages around in a sack for just a minute. And he kind of pulls this amulet out and lays it on the desk, the table kind of in front of him. He says, this ought to do the trick for you. It's going to cost you 1,000 though.
Look. We both know what I just told you is well worth more than 500 gold pieces. But like I said, I'm desperate. When I say I'm desperate, I don't mean I'm loaded with cash and have all these expendable resources. I'm telling you that I'm in need of aid. Now, I'm sure there's some sort of an arrangement we can come to where I don't have to give you 1,000 fucking gold pieces for an amulet that you're probably not even sure if it works.
And if possible, I'd like to roll persuasion.
Excellent, please do.
Right. We'll see. You know, we're gonna fucking take it. 14 on the die for a total of 17.
Okay. He kind of looks like he's contemplating what you've told him. He's kind of weighing things. You're that knight that fought in the tournament, aren't you?
I am.
Won quite a bit of coin too, if I'm not mistaken. And aren't you a house champion? Some baron or other?
Look at my face. What do you see?
Orc?
Now, I'm sure I don't need to spell out that for you. But how much do you think it cost me to get here? How many of those debts do you think I had to pay off just by winning victories? In terms of house champions, I'm a knight, newly acquired to a house that was just arranged not even a month ago. Your facts are straight, but they're not complete.
I'll tell you what. You get me some kind of paper that says, if a friend in trouble needs some leniency, then your lord will vouch for him. And I'll sell it to you for the 500.
Tord will put his hand out to shake his hand.
No match.
But as doing so, like kind of shaking business-like, and then pulling him close to whisper to him,
I can get you that. But if you think that escaping some wrath of some petty lord will come free if this comes back to haunt my lord, well,
and I would like to roll an intimidation with charisma.
Excellent. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and like as you've pulled this guy in close, like that big guy like steps back close to the table again, and he's just kind of like held his hand up just to kind of keep him at bay for the moment.
I really can't complain here. I got a total of 19, 16 on the die.
He is trying very hard to play it cool, but you can tell that you've gotten to him, that he's shaken.
I'm gonna try and like play it off, like brushing his shoulders off, like straightening up his clothes, nodding to him, and then turning to shake the bodyguard's hand as well.
Well, gentlemen, it's a pleasure doing business with you, and you will hear from me here shortly with my end of the bargain.
Look forward to it. He kind of says, like reaching out and pulling the box back towards him.
I'm gonna take the amulet.
Remind me about that after this session. I'll cook something up.
Okay. And if I can just spend what remainder of the time I have here looking up anybody that can give me leads on powerful fae. If that's something that you want to get to me later on as well, since it's just information and I can make rolls to find it if necessary or whatever, because I don't want to.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how much information they would have necessarily, but I'll think of something.
Yeah, no, and like I said, if that's something I have to roll for and we can figure out off screen, absolutely. If you want to put I know you said something about wanting to have that information in the stream, so maybe I can discuss it with somebody afterward or something. I just don't want to hold this up too
perfect.
long.
Okay, so go ahead and give me an investigation roll, and we'll kind of see how that colors what you find out eventually.
$15 on the die for a total of 14.
Excellent. One of those.
No.
Stats.
No.
Okay. So yeah, there will definitely be some kind of information that you find, and I'll figure out what that is as well after this session. Get it to you, and we'll probably just mention it on camera next session. All right. So, all of you have your stuff packed. You're ready to go. Prepared to head down the road towards the eastern borderlands and the holdings of Angorshire.
I think whenever we first meet up all together to head out, Sir John approaches Tord privately, and he's like, "So Tord, did you buy gifts for everyone?"
Was I supposed to?
Oh, thank the gods. They're all buying gifts for everyone. I had no idea. I felt so awkward. I had beautiful things were given to me, touching things, and I had nothing for them.
You got things?
Look at this. I pull out the eagle and I touch it. I touch the one that has everybody laughing and singing the song. I don't touch the one that's my crest. That's us laughing. I don't know when this happened.
People gave you magic stuff?
Can you imagine? I felt so awkward. Here I was barehanded.
Did other people get stuff?
So I think at about this point, Dane comes walking over, and he's got this large burlap wrapped thing.
I think you come up from behind Sir Tord's back, and so I see you approaching, and I go, "Oh, good Lord, Brace yourself, Tord.
What? Is it something up? Did you all fucking get
Oh,
stuff?
Sir Dane. Good morning. Good morning.
Dane got fucking stuff.
Well, I got stuff for you. Well, a thing.
Oh. What? Oh. Dane, you didn't need to get me anything. Material things are, but possessions.
And he'll hand you it. It's relatively heavy. I don't know what the actual dimensions would be, right? Maybe like 3.5 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide.
Yeah, I'll take it from you. And you said it's wrapped in burlap.
Yeah.
I'll find the edge and
All right.
reveal.
It is a shield. And it looks like it's been cobbled together. So part of it looks like an Angorian shield that has been mated to a Vykarilian shield. And what holds them together is a rifted sword blade.
Oh.
The Vykarilian portion has been painted to have the Pendrake crest on it. And on the backside of the shield is a slot that you could put a dagger or another small weapon into.
Tord kind of rubbing the face of the shield.
Dane. This is beautiful.
Well, in fairness, it's actually a lot uglier than I thought it was going to be. But
My
that's
family would have placed this over the mantle. My family will place this over the mantle. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Tord. I did ask everybody else, and you weren't present, but I know that you're in a hurry to make it to your homeland. I asked if we could make a short, a 1 day, a half day stop in the village that I'm from. It's along the way. I need to catch up on some family business, and according to my aunt, let my parents know that I'm not dead. Well, they know I'm not dead, but you know, there's been a lot. I'll save you the confusing details because there were a lot of questions and disparaging remarks that came out of it, mostly from Ari.
No permission necessary. Absolutely.
I think we got everything packed up, and if Sir John's new quartermaster ever decides to be done tugging on ropes and looking busy, we could leave.
Yes, if you could just go and make sure she is loading my things the way I like.
I already did. Do you believe me if I told you she was trying to lash the shield 3 times? 3 times.
Ugh, I told her I only like it twice.
Right. I told you.
Can you do me a favor and just please go make sure that it's only done twice?
I will go check.
Thank you.
Dane
As
knows
soon
he's
as he
been
leaves,
dismissed.
I turn to Tord. Do you see what I mean? Look at this thing, and I shake the shield a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy about this right now.
Where did it come from?
Who the hell made it?
I don't know, but it's gorgeous.
Where did you get 2 halves of it?
I'm so excited to hit it with something. Do you want to go try it really quick while everyone else is loading up?
I want to say yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's go. Hurry. While they're not looking.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
And then I think like 5 minutes later, everybody's loading up, and in the distance, you just hear this like ringing out of metal, of like wood on metal. Ding, ding.
What is that?
Remarkable, remarkable.
Somebody's like, "Where's Tord? Where's Sir John?" Like, everybody's ready to go. That's awesome. It is as your sparring is coming to an end, and you kind of realize that the convoy, the caravan, is somewhat held up, and you're making your way back, that Tord, you are stopped by someone else. Another individual comes up on horseback. This one, likewise, a duchess. This is Felgrotha Wainwright, the Duchess of Cavalon. She approaches you, and whenever she comes within earshot, she calls out, "Pardon me, Swordbreaker."
Aye, my lady.
Yes, I have to say that I watched your prowess in the tournament, and I rather enjoyed it. You did well.
Your words are too kind.
Unfortunately, not all of the peerage's words are. You did well, despite all the jeers from many. Not in the least Lady Busweb. And she actually, like, spits on the ground.
Are you...
Hold on. What's the word?
Are you of ill mind of the Lady Basweb?
We're not exactly friends. No, I think she's a fool.
Well, for someone I'm just meeting, I have to say that we agree on a lot.
She kind of half chuckles. She says, "They're wrong about you. You know."
I wouldn't know.
Listen, it's obvious that the Queen seems to have tasked you and your friends with some purpose. I don't need to know the details, nor do I care to. The reason I came here is I am pledging Shieldhouse Wainwright and my bannermen to any cause that you may need in the future. If you have purpose and reason to need my men, then all you should have to do is call.
Your words are taken with great magnitude, and I appreciate them. Nor will I take this gift lightly. Thank you, Duchess.
Yes, I would rather you not take it lightly. Do not mistake my meaning to have them carry out some small errand. War is coming, Swordbreaker. We stand with the Queen, and I think you do as well. So when the task calls for it, we will be there.
Well, if I may, I'm not just some sword. I know what you're saying.
And I'll nod and kind of wait for her to leave, I guess.
Yeah, when it's obvious that the business that you have has been finished. She nods and gives you kind of like a socially appropriate level of a bow. Like she doesn't bow at the waist, but basically kind of at the shoulders. And then she turns and rides away. All right. I would imagine that most of you probably saw this exchange. You probably didn't hear it, but I would imagine you at least saw that Tord was just discussing something with the Duchess of Cavalon. If anybody wishes to interject.
I think she strikes me as like a warrior duchess, right?
Very much so. Yeah, she's wearing
Okay.
full plate.
Then I'm sure I've studied her a little bit in the peerage to know who she is and maybe how anything I might need to know to fight her someday. And actually, while they're talking, I think I'm observing her, and I'd like to learn her general power level with my Know Your Enemy ability.
Excellent. Okay. So I would say she is probably 15th level, give or take.
Okay, cool.
Put a hard number on it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess I mark that this is happening. And after she leaves, I kind of shout over, "So Tord, are you ready to leave?"
Assuming that my horse has been acquired and brought here by either my accord or someone else's.
I believe so.
What did the Duchess of Cavalon want with you?
She wanted to commend my efforts in the tourney. A very flattering compliment, really.
They were commendable, after all.
Aye, but for a loser.
A toothy grin.
I think I clap my hand on his shoulder. Oh, not everyone can be tournament champion.
You're right. Maybe one day I'll get my wings.
Maybe one day.
If anybody can be passively aggressively smug, it is Sir John.
He deserves it.
Give me this, please.
Let him have it.
It's so perfect.
It was
so
well
perfect.
earned.
It absolutely was. I just love the way that Eli plays it.
But do you have to be so damn smug about it?
It's so good. That little chiding. Excellent. Okay, so you leave the large gatehouse situated in the southeastern wall of Malrich. And you begin to head down the road. I think I have the map loaded in here. That is not a map, if you are aware. Yes, cool. So you are leaving Malrich, more or less kind of in the middle of the screen. This map was made by Eli. Thank you, Eli. You are headed down this road that kind of skirts the eastern shore of Lake Kelmium, traveling southward. Your ultimate goal being Shanin, which is this near the bottom of the screen over towards the right. Right as this road forks to head off towards Wintingham, That is where fertile ground is located. It is spot on 50 miles away from Malrich. So you've left fairly early in the morning, hoping that you would be able to make it by nightfall. With any luck, you might have a place to stay that is warm and dry and not have to sleep in a camp somewhere. So, the travel throughout the first part of the day is going to be uneventful. So if there's any kind of conversation or anything of that nature that you'd like to have as you're making your way towards fertile ground, please do that now.
So I think at some point, Dane is riding next to Sir Tord. All right, let me try and explain this to you, and maybe you won't react the same way as everybody else. The washing woman, the one who gave me my sword, and the one that healed Ari. You with me? Is also who gives me my magic, or at least something along those lines. She's also my grandmother. Apparently my mom and my aunt are the daughters of a rather powerful witch. All right, well, you took that a lot better than everybody else.
Dane. my dead wife was a witch who brought me back from the dead and was burned at the stake, and I murdered half a village. It's all good, man.
Right. But I don't yeah. So how do I it's not that what I guess it doesn't matter. Just if when we talk to my mother about this, when it comes out that, you know, my grandmother is Belligane the Faken, that won't matter, right? Like you don't. Okay.
Dane, I don't really know what you're digging at here.
No, that's
you out of most people in this group have really literally torn me asunder. You're like, what do you, chill, man. We're good. And like, I'm gonna like fist bump him.
Like Dane's really not sure whether to be upset or relieved. Like,
look, I'm certainly not much of the talker here. I'm gonna let you do your thing and score whatever goals you need to attain. And I'm gonna back you up. That I can do. I don't know the details of your intricacies in magic. I don't. But I know you. And you're my friend. So, maybe it's time for you to take the lead once again.
that sounds a lot like what Sir John was insinuating. All right. Well then, I can't promise that it's the most exciting village that we'll ever go to. You know, home's kind of small. And my mom and sister will be there. I'm almost certain. My dad may not be, but you can meet both of them, and all of you can meet them, and this won't be awkward at all. I'm sorry, Tor, you'll have to repeat that. I couldn't hear it over the loud.
Is that your
A
stomach?
shadow.
I turn and look. Look.
A shadow passes over you. The forest around you already has dappled light from the morning coming through the canopy, but something moves between you and the sun and blocks the sun out for your immediate area of the forest. Anybody who would like to can roll a perception check.
I'm nervous. I got a 17.
Okay, so Eddard, Tord, we'll both see it.
I'm assuming I have disadvantage because it's a brightly lit day today.
You are in the forest, so where you are, it's not that bright currently.
That'll be a 23 for me.
Okay. So everyone, except for Sir John, somehow, sees the shape of a dragon fly overhead. Lightly colored. Those of you who rolled really well, Eddard, Dane, and Ariana Shial, you are able to tell that this dragon has silver scales. And it is heading straight for fertile ground.
About how far out are we at this point?
2 or 3 hours.
Well, I hope I don't kill my horse as I spur it forward without saying much of anything. And I will literally drive it till it drops and heal it if I have to.
Oh yeah, Eddard kicks it into high gear.
Just look back. Sir John, try and catch up.
Sorry, I was just looking at the field.
Somewhere in the distance, Motley Crue starts playing.
Okay.
Sir John's just looking at himself in his mirror when it flies over. And instead of thinking dragon, he's like, what would be blocking my light?
Clouds. Ugh.
Well, to also be clear, Sir John did not see it, but he certainly heard it. Okay. Putting spurs to your steeds, you charge forward down the trail, down the road, and soon-ish, you crest a small rise in the terrain. Dane, you out front, you've done this many times on this road, and you know what lies on the other side of the crest of this hill. But when you crest the other side, you don't find what you expect to see. Instead of your small, thriving village, you see only a solitary hut. There is no sign of any other dwellings or even fields around it.
Dane, I thought you said we were close to fertile ground.
We are. We should. It's right. It should be right there. That hut's not. I've never seen that before.
So this is
you can normally stand on this hill, look straight down the road, and always see Old Man Kelligan out there farming his potatoes. Like, this is a straight shot to his field.
Perhaps we're in the wrong area. It's been a while since you've been home.
I don't think that they moved an entire village since I've been gone.
Well, maybe you took the wrong turn back there, maybe?
And like Dane like just jumps off a horse and goes over to this large tree that's on the crest of this hill, and like carved into the tree are these initials that are, it's like a D and then this crude sword and a T. And he's like, no, that's Dane, that's Celestio, and that's Toby. This is my tree.
So your village should be here.
I start looking around for the dragon. Like, I don't know why, but all of a sudden it's like, did the dragon eat my village? I mean, it doesn't even make any sense, but...
You see no sign of the dragon anywhere.
How far are we down the road from this hut?
Wherever you guys would have stopped. However far away.
I think Eddard probably dismounts and begins to tie up his horse.
All right, well, I guess I go down there and ask this hut dweller what they did with my village.
One moment, Sir Dane.
Why is nothing ever simple?
Remember the tavern that we stayed at when we first began our journey together?
Right, don't sleep in any ovens or get in any beds.
Yes, best to be on our guard.
If there's sisters in there, don't trust them. Right.
Been a lot of really backhanded jabs in my direction.
Right, if they're friendly to Tord, don't trust them.
Now, he's got a point.
But my mom and my sister should be here somewhere. So yeah, Dane will start walking towards this hut.
Eddard is with you.
So the two of you at least begin to approach this hut, and as you do so, you can see it's very verdant. There's green growth kind of all over the roof of this place, and there's small like fruit trees and a very well-tended garden outside. And you kind of walk to where the path leads up to this gate, this like wall, this maybe 3-4 foot wall that kind of surrounds the whole property. And when you open the gate and step foot onto the kind of footpath that leads to the front door, you're not even 3 or 4 steps down this footpath before the front door opens by itself. There's no one standing in it.
I look back to everybody else and
Seems inviting.
seems something. But I'm not going to get any answers out here, and I'll step inside the house.
Yes, Eddard follows.
Okay, so it sounds like Dane and Eddard are entering. Is anybody else going in with them?
Yeah,
And
Sir
if
John
not-
will go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Whole team.
Okay, all right. So, you all enter this hut, somewhat staggered out, and the inside looks very similar to the outside. There's herbs hanging everywhere, and all kinds of different containers and bottles. This is definitely an herbalist or somebody who works in potions and things. Their kind of dwelling. There's also a cauldron that is bubbling over the hearth fire on one side, and it smells of some kind of savory stew, probably venison of some type. And a small bustling noise draws your attention to the woman that rounds into the main room from kind of the back. And Dane, as the first person who was in the hut, you recognize that it is in fact the White Witch.
Why?
Why what? Speak up, boy.
Where's my village? My mother, my sister.
Oh, yes. They're still here. There's nothing that has befallen them.
I appreciate what you did for Sir John and his father, but why are you here?
So impatient, so impatient. Where is the hurry that you have? You're so young still. Many years ahead of you. Why always such a rush? Except for the task you've been put to. She kind of like holds up a bony finger towards you.
We're getting to that.
Meanwhile, the kingdom rots from the inside while you dally.
We're not dallying. I can't think of any good story, fairy tale, or religion that was written in one night. Nor do I think that Camagel or any other great sword was forged in an instant. It takes time. The pieces have to come together. Vykaril has to be willing to accept what we do, or what we do, they'll never accept. And so winning that tournament, that wasn't just for us. That wasn't dallying. That was announcing. That was heralding moving forward on this quest. This was just supposed to be a brief side trip to see my family.
Yes, family. It would appear that Belagane's blood does in fact run through your veins, young one.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Your wisdom belays your age, young Dane. That is not by chance. But this kingdom, what you know of it at least, will not hold together for much longer. I could not tell you in front of the Queen, because it was not for her ears. Queen Ara Il-Shom will not sit on the throne for much longer.
I kind of like look back over my shoulder at everybody else. I don't suppose you can tell us how much not longer is?
Cannot. The sight does not work that way, I am afraid. But I do know that there will be another who takes her place. But only at the end of a bloody conflict. One that this kingdom will never truly recover from.
I think Dane slumps into a chair near the hearth, and coincidentally, it's like in the exact same spot that he would sit to watch his mother when she was busy around the house. And he reaches into his pack and pulls out a couple of sheets of folded parchment. All right, well, business is business, and kingdom does need saving. So if you can just give this to my mother, then we'll be on our way to
Hush, child, hush, child. You will see your mother in time. But first, she turns to you, Toward. She makes her way towards you. She kind of roughly grabs your face and turns it sideways, almost like she's peering into your ear. You know she's blind. Like, she's got really bad cataracts, and she moves about as if she is blind. But she looks into your ears for a moment, and then she releases your face and grabs your forearm with somewhat surprising strength and pulls your hand towards her and looks at your palm for a moment. You have information that you have heard about the one who hunts you, the one who tries to stop you. A creature not of this world gave you this name. Do not utter it here. Do not utter this name aloud if you can avoid it, but if you know the name of which I speak, think it in your head clearly now. Baron may not recall. However, Tord would recall that you were given a name whenever you met the Warmonger, the avatar of Thorn, the god of war, who handed you the blade that you now carry. When he handed you the blade, he said nothing except for one name before he rode away. Yep. Karen's got you. She put it in the chat here. So, do you in fact think this name?
Yes, absolutely.
The name is Sakawida. So, you think this name. You kind of try to chase away the other thoughts in your mind, if you will, and think of just this name. And she just stands there for a moment looking down at your palm, and then she lets go of your hand. Let's see. Yes, of course, that makes perfect sense. Well, you should tread carefully. This Fae is not to be trifled with lightly. She is powerful. Not as powerful as Belgain, and she kind of turns and looks in Dane's direction. But powerful in her own right. One of the most powerful Fae that's lived in a long, long time. If she moves against you, it's only a matter of time. What does she want? Why would she be involved? I will have to find more information. I don't think it is anything you can help me with from here on out. The blade has to be reforged. That is concern number one. If it is not, his kingdom will fall to ruin. I know it is a tall order that I ask. But it is only the 5 of you who can do this. You understand the importance of the task you have been put to.
White Witch, we have been described as a sword. But we do not know who will wield us, and a sword by itself can accomplish nothing. It only comes alive through skilled handling. We need guidance. What shall we do?
Sorry. Have you forgotten already?
Are we on the right path?
Well, yes. Angor, I believe, holds the first key. The steel of a conquered enemy turned ally. The orc were once the enemy of mankind, before Mathuran Gabrain sought peace with the Angorian people. They are a conquered enemy turned ally. You must get the steel for the sword Camagel, the new sword from the orcs of Angorshire. It cannot be mere simple steel. There must be purpose behind it, reason for it to be given. You must find a way to earn it from them.
Very well.
I must go. And so must you. She kind of starts ushering all of you towards the door.
Wait, one moment. Where is fertile ground?
She turns and kind of starts laughing as she continues to usher you towards the door without answering your question.
I don't stop myself, or I let her continue to push me out, but I'm like, wait a moment. I need to know.
As you step out of the door, whichever the first of you is that does so, you step out, not into the small walled garden around this hut, but instead you step into the middle of a village. A quaint, small village that Dane, at least, would recognize as fertile ground. And when the last of you steps through the door and it shuts behind you, anybody who turns around to look finds that you have just stepped out of a storehouse, a small kind of shack that doesn't even faintly resemble the hut that you were just inside of.
Well, at least we found fertile ground. Should use our time wisely.
I don't think anything, even coming home, will ever be simple for any of us ever again.
I have a feeling you're right.
But that being said, if we hurry, Mother's probably still cooking.
Well then, show us the way.
And I will walk you to a hut on almost the other side of this village, out towards the river and the fields, and I'll sort of stop at the stony path that goes up towards it, and okay. It is going to be nothing like visiting Sir John's parents. We don't have servants or lots of rooms, but there won't be a pissed off Black Knight that wants to kill us either. So that's
Already sounds better to me.
Right.
Let's go.
Trade I'll take. And so I'll walk up to the door and I'll hesitate opening it, and instead I'll knock.
You hear a voice from inside the cottage singing. And when you knock, the voice stops. Hello? Who is it? You hear footsteps approaching the door.
Eddard places his hand on Dane's back.
The last time they saw me, I ran away.
The door opens. All of you see a young to middle-aged blonde woman who looks not melancholy, but maybe melancholy to a certain degree. She opens the door and kind of looks at all of you confused for a moment before her eyes finally settle on you, Dane. Her eyes hold you for a long time, and you can see the confusion, and then a whole range of emotions plays across her face kind of in an instant, and immediately her lip begins to tremble. Dane? Is that you? Dane?
It's me.
She grabs you and pulls you to her and hugs you hard. Thank whatever gods are looking down upon us for bringing you back. Thank you. Thank all of you. She kind of looks to the rest of you as if, like, you're responsible for bringing him home to her.
Mom,
You left. You left a note, but you didn't say where you'd went or why.
I didn't know where I was going. And he still has that like stack of parchment in his hands. I wrote to you a lot. I just didn't ever send them. I didn't, whenever we stopped somewhere that I could, I couldn't.
We've
I
been
didn't want to remind you that I was gone.
remind us that you were gone. Dane,
Uh,
your empty bed reminded me of that every single day. Please,
Well-
please come in, all of you. And she like pushes the door wide and like stands open to accept all of you into her home. Please.
So, Dane will step forward and, like, in a almost practiced manner, he pulls his shoes off as he steps into the house.
Sir John steps forward next and extends a hand. My dear, it is marvelous to meet you. I have come to know your son so well, and he has
You see Dane on the
grown.
other side of his mom going,
He has grown in the time that I have known him. Very nice to meet you.
She kind of curtsies, realizing that she's in the presence of like nobility, many times over.
Mom, this is Sir John Lightnor.
Yes, a knight, a lord. It looks like. Welcome, my lord. And she kind of like curtsies deeply.
This is Lord Eddard Bainton Pendrake.
Forgive me, my lord. Yes, welcome, please, to my home. I'm so sorry. There's not much room here, and there's only 4 chairs. She kind of like starts turning around, like she's going to try to make this place better.
No.
When she turns around, Eddard
Just,
is almost tripping, getting his shoes off. And when he finally does, he stands up straight and he flattens his shirt out. And he said, "Milady, pleasure to meet you. Dane talks very highly of you."
Oh, of course. The pleasure is mine. Please, I'd come in. I didn't realize entertaining lords in this hovel.
Who could have guessed? It's
Mom,
no problem.
It's not a hovel. This mountain is Sir Masaka Tord. He's also a knight.
Oh, my. You're Angorian, yes? By the look of it?
Yep. Very much so, yes.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Welcome to my home. And an elf. She kind of looks at Ariana Shial as if, like, she's really just now seeing her. Are you also a lady?
No. Well, she is a lady, but not... This is Ariana Shell. She's a emissary of Bainshell.
Bainshell, the elven
I just nod.
I see. Dane, what company do you keep? She seems like proud and surprised in equal measure.
It's been quite the adventure. I bumped into Aunt Candace, and she convinced me to stop in and see you and Father. And
Oh, I see.
Lonnie must be around here somewhere.
She begins to kind of like joke with you about the fact that you would listen to your aunt and not to her. But when you mention your sister's name, her countenance grows dark. Oh. Dane, Could we step outside for a moment to talk?
Sure. And I'll turn to the group. Well, on the bright side, there's 4 chairs.
Please, make yourselves at home. And she kind of walks out the door hurriedly.
I'll follow her.
Whenever you're a few steps away from the house, out of earshot, she kind of turns. Dane, I was so worried about you. Where to begin? When you left, we found your note. Your father and I, we were beside ourselves. We looked everywhere for you that we could think no one had seen you. Not long after your sister also ran away from home.
What?
She did not leave us a note. We have even less information about what happened to her. We don't know where she is, Dane. But at least one of my babies has come home. And she reaches out and touches your face, Dane.
I'll catch her hand and hold it there for a second. Why would she leave?
I don't know why either of you would leave. I blamed myself, of course, and
No.
Father.
No.
Your father blamed himself, but there were no answers, sadly. It's been difficult, Dane.
I love to make things better. Like, if I could go out and become someone, then you wouldn't have to work here so hard, and Father wouldn't have to do whatever it is he does, and he could be home. And with me gone, that was one less person to feed and look after. And
Dane, that is not your responsibility. It never has been. That is the responsibility of your father and I. We chose.
You wouldn't even begin to understand my responsibilities anymore.
She kind of, tucks her chin to her chest, almost like she didn't expect the back talk, maybe.
I don't mean any disrespect. I didn't leave because I thought it was a responsibility. I left because it was what I needed to do. It was supposed to make things easier. But I feel like everything I've done since then has not made anything easier. It's made everything much more complicated.
Dane, simple is exactly why your father and I chose this life. We aren't stuck here. This isn't penance that we are paying. This is what we wanted for our family.
I know, and I'm thankful for everything that you and Father did for me and for Lonnie and for us. And I know that you and he were okay with this, but I wanted so much more for us. I would listen to Father tell me those stories, and I would read them. And those heroes, that how they changed the world, but
more importantly, how they changed their own lives and the lives of those people that loved them. And that's what I wanted. But not like this, not from my sister to run away. This was supposed to be a happy moment, albeit a short one, unfortunately. I wanted to come back here and introduce you to these other people in my life, and I wanted to tell you the things that we've done, all of us. Eddard's only been a lord for weeks now. Sir John nearly became the lord of his own house, and only because of a witch and magic did we save his father. And I met Baneshell, a shield bearer. I spoke to him. I left and I found this knight, and I was going to be his squire, and he was nothing like the stories. He was horrible, womanizing and cheating and a louse. And then I found this other knight, and he was so much more than those stories. And Mom, I'm a knight now too. I'm Sir Dane.
Dane, I cannot even begin to fathom what you have been through. I can tell that it has changed you, it has shaped you, and for the better. You've grown up a lot.
Sometimes not by choice.
It rarely is, my dear.
Mom,
There's no reason for this to be a sad moment, Dane. This is a happy moment. I know that the news of your sister weighs heavy upon you, as it does me as well, but I have lived with this now for some time. But you have come home, Dane. So let us go inside and celebrate. Let us hear the stories of you and these people you travel with. Tell me about them.
Where's father?
Your father. He should be home shortly. And she kind of shakes her head. He is not going to believe who he has waiting in his home.
And so I imagine at this point Dane's probably a little bit taller than his mom.
Yeah.
And so I'll step in behind her and start to usher her back towards the house. And right as we get to that threshold, I will switch to the old Vykaril. And I learned a lot about your mother as well.
I think she's kind of gladly being ushered along back into the house, and whenever you say this, she comes to a complete stop in front of you. What? My mother? Dane? What do you mean? In old Vykaril.
And I'll turn around to face me, and maybe she has a small cut or a burn from cooking or something, and I'll just put my hands over top of her hands, and it'll glow that golden light for a moment. There's that smell of pond water, and it'll heal her.
She kind of looks on with marvel. Dane, you have magic. You've never shown the ability to cast magic before. If you had, I would have been teaching you all this time.
No. It was by chance, I think, or who am I kidding? Nothing's by chance. By fate. And I came across this woman washing clothes. She drew a sword from amongst the reeds, handed it to me, and asked me to save Vykaril. She's visited me since then. Aunt Candace saw her, and she said that the woman that she saw was Bellegane Fakin, my grandmother.
Your grandmother has been dead since before you were born, Dane. She was very complicated. Very powerful.
Everything is.
Your magic, Dane. Is it helpful? Is it beneficial? Or is it used to hurt?
I've used it to do both.
When I say your grandmother was complicated, what you know of her reads much like the stories that you have read of knights. It paints a certain picture.
Right.
She practiced not only white magic, but black magic as well. If you are getting your power from Bellegane the Fakin, you need to be careful, Dane, that this dark magic has a way of tainting someone who wields it.
The image of Bodhi just pops into Dane's mind. I imagine it does.
If you have the capability to cast magic, I wonder if...
Lonnie?
Yes, Dane, I'm afraid for her all over again. She wipes like her nose on the back of her sleeve. Forgive me. She switches back to the common tongue. Please, all of you, please join us for dinner. And she heads over to the cauldron where she has been cooking and begins to spoon out stew to each of you. It isn't much, I'm afraid. It may be a bit more simple than what you may be used to at court, but well, I hope that you enjoy it. there are herbs here from the forest nearby. There are. She seems very distracted.
Eddard is digging into this stew.
It's very
So
hearty.
he looks up from it. He says, "This is very good, milady. What kind of stew is this?"
Oh, it's pork stew. My husband slew a boar a few nights back.
Very good. Love pork, especially boar. Very gamey.
I think
But she seems
Ari's
to be
been,
distracted. Oh, sorry.
yeah, so when she's distracted, like Ari's kind of been just kind of spooning it around, kind of swirling it. And when she's distracted, she just kind of shoves the bowl towards Tord.
Bird swaps his bowl over, which is now empty.
Perfect.
My father should be home within the evening.
About what time was it when we rode into town?
It was nightfall. You
Okay,
guys-
so we were looking to camp anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's 50 miles from the capital, so you guys would have ridden most of the day. To
Gotcha.
get here.
Alrighty.
Okay. At some point, not that far away, there is a whistling that can be heard coming up the path. And you hear the whistling stop, and a voice from outside calls, "Who goes there?"
I'll stand up and walk to the door and open it.
When you say whistling, do you mean like wind whistling through the trees or like somebody whistling a tune?
I'm sorry. Yeah, somebody whistling a tune.
Gotcha.
So Dane, you open the door and you see your father looking a little worn, definitely older since the last time you saw him. He's carrying a bundle of firewood in his arms, and he's eyeing the retinue of horses and the wagon and Sir John's attendants who are all outside this small hut. And he kind of looks as the door opens in your direction, and you can see his eyes narrow towards you. It can't be.
Here, let me help you with the wood.
Dane? What did you... How did you come...
By horse, if that's what you mean, or if by all of this, they're not mine. They're Sir John's or Lord Eddard's, or perhaps even Sir Tord's.
You ride amongst the company of knights and a lord.
I do. Relatively recent lord, for what that's worth.
I'm thankful that you're all right, son.
And I'm sorry that you're not. Mom told me about Lonnie.
He kind of takes a deep breath. Yes. She left not long after you did. She started to act strangely after you left, and we thought that it had to do with you leaving, and spent a lot of time out by that oak tree that the two of you used to spend so much time at. She would stay through the night at times out there to go claim her in the morning before the sun came up. One morning I went to go find her, and she wasn't there. And I'm glad that you're home, Dane. Here, help me with this. And he kind of like thrusts the bundle of wood into your arms.
I'll take it and I'll deposit some of it outside the house and carry the rest inside.
He kind of does his best to kind of make himself more presentable before he steps through into the hut and kind of looks around. Welcome to our home, I suppose. And he kind of bows. You can tell it is not something he's used to doing at all. He looks very uncomfortable.
Dad, you don't have to.
Eddard stands up from his seat.
This is Lord Eddard Baton Pendrake.
He reaches out his hand to shake it.
He will kind of not sure how to finish bowing and then start shaking your hand. There's almost like a in between the two for just a moment before he rights himself. Yes, of course. A baron, you say?
Yes, sir.
Ground. He almost laughs. What possible business brings you out this way? With my son, no less.
Well, me and my compatriots were on our way to handle some business, and fertile ground was on the way. Dane wanted to see his family, and so we accommodated him.
The gentleman on the other side of the table is Sir John Lightnor.
Remarkably pleased to meet you, sir. You have sired a fine young man.
He looks taken back with Sir John's way of speaking, and he kind of almost like he takes a second to translate. Oh, yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. He's a good boy. Man, I suppose. No.
Indeed, and a knight in his own right.
We are in fine company. He turns to his wife. Please don't let me make you stop eating. I have some ale. And he kind of like turns and heads towards like the barn area of the estate.
Eddard looks at Tord.
I was going to introduce you, but when he gets back, I suppose.
Yeah, he's back in a flash. Sorry, go ahead, Barry.
Tord says he brought some.
Right. I imagine that you did. Father, this is Sir Masaka Tord.
Masaka Tord. I've made it out towards Angleshire a few times. People are hard workers. They breed magnificent animals. The horses are something to behold.
Yeah. Take pride in our steeds, that's for sure. I appreciate the compliment.
Good to know that one of you rides with my son.
The lady over here is Ariana Shell. She's a emissary from Bainshell.
Oh, okay. I suppose, milady, is in order, and he kind of bows questioningly.
I just shrug at him and her, like, we've been together a while now, and we still haven't figured that part out. But please, mother, father, I'm quite sure that it's okay with them. It's just Eddard toward Ariana Shell and Sir John. Like, that one's still hard for him. He can't quite just call you John. It just doesn't work in his brain.
Excellent. So, what I would like, I think, is each of you, please, just describe a snapshot of the evening, of you spending time here in fertile ground, in the home that Dane grew up in. Just a bit of conversation or something that we see these characters doing as the evening progresses.
What season is it right now?
I don't know. I guess let's call it fall, autumn.
All right. So I think one of the things that'll happen early on is Dane and his father would walk everybody out and point to an area that if you chose to set up camp, that area would be kosher, and there's the barn is oversized for the property, something to do with Dad's secret work, but the horses can be kept in there. And I think a lot of it is Dane actually letting other people relay events to his parents. But I think a lot of the evening, Dane has this small doll in his hand that he's picked up off of a chair in the house that belonged to his sister. And he's not completely out of it, so he'll laugh at the appropriate stuff and right, yeah, dolls are bad. But he'll laugh at the appropriate stuff and even carry on in the conversation, but he's obviously distracted. And if anybody does ask him, like, he's at this point there is no I would say there's no secrets amongst our group, but survey says that's a lie. But he would tell you all that his sister's disappeared. And perhaps when his dad is outside, he would quickly go over the fact that his mother thinks that it may have to do with darker magic. But not to bring that up when Dad's around, because, let's just not. But yeah, what he had planned on being like, hey, this is my room, and these are my toys, and these are my fairy tale books. None of that happens.
I think Sir John would have maybe been looking forward to something really embarrassing like that, but wouldn't have been focused on it at the beginning, because he would have immediately, set the quartermaster and everyone to setting up camp whenever an area was pointed out for them. But then John goes over and arranges some special stuff with the quartermaster, and so then the quartermaster and John's retinue sweep through Dane's parents' house and maintain everything. They take all of the wobbles out of the chair and table legs. They it's like the seven dwarves go through, right? And they just clean up everything. They repair anything that needs repairing. They really soup up the house as much as they can. There were only 4 chairs before, so grab a couple chairs off of the wagon and put those in the house just to keep. And just sort of soup up the whole place.
I think the big thing that Eddard does is as the night grows and the ale flows, he gets in touch with his storytelling side, and he pulls his book, and basically he just regales kind of what the group has gone through, leaving out some of the details and leaving out the fact that Dane uses magic, obviously, because I got that vibe. But I think the big climax to all the storytelling is Eddard telling the story of how Dane was knighted by Sir John and the rest of the party, in front of the fire, and everybody's just having a good time. I know that it wasn't said outwardly. Well, I take it makes more sense if Eddard knew that Dane's sister had disappeared. And again, he tries to make the night, at least for one night, the parents can focus on all of the great deeds and, son's home. Let's be happy tonight. So he tells a lot of good stories, all climaxing with the knighting of Sir Dane.
Ariana Shell just pours everyone tea.
I was just gonna say that. But yeah, at some point she would pull out that tea set and and make some probably really horrific tea, because it's the second time, and she's gonna do it the elvish way now. And so you find little leaves and stuff in it, and
Oh, we're all so drunk we don't even notice that we're drinking straight leaves.
and she's trying to no, never mind.
It's the nutrients.
I imagine there's almost this moment where Ariana Shial looks at Dane see, I can human too.
Right. Tord didn't get teacup, so he's just got his ale mug, and he's literally out there picking out leaves from his teeth and from the mug. Gross.
Tord, to accompany Eddard's kind of story, is going to do some I'm going to call it fire drawing, where in the kind of embers and soot of the fire, he's going to draw depictions, kind of like what you would see by maybe an Angorian campfire, where they would surround the fire pits with elaborate kind of soot and dirt.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's almost almost tribal or Celtic kind of design work.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. I like that. That's cool.
Celtic knot-esque.
It's awesome. Okay, cool. So most of the night kind of passes this way. It's very low key, but it's a pleasant evening. The food is good. It's hot. It's hearty. The ale is probably not the best that you've had, but it's decent. And at some point, Dane, what point is it that we see Dane making his way out to the oak tree that was mentioned by your father?
I think what happens is, so Dad has experienced combat before, and then that's part of what got him into doing whatever sort of other job he has. And so I think at some point the story kind of shifts to those when you get a bunch of soldiers or retired soldiers together, they start stopping war stories, and I imagine that Sir John and Tord get involved in that with my father. And then, not to be outdone, so does Ari. And so that turns into that, and I think Mom quietly goes to start cleaning up behind everybody. A mixture of this is what I do, but also slightly almost embarrassed from all of the tidying up and fixing that her house needed earlier, right? So now she's got to make sure that everything is and so I think it's at that moment that maybe close to, I mean, it's probably late. It's probably 11 midnight. And Dane will walk out to that tree. Like I said before, it has the D for Dane, and it's got that crudely drawn celestial, which was Toby's sword growing up, and it's got the T for Toby. But I think unseen earlier, and even a new addition for Dane is underneath of that is this lightly, it's not anywhere nearly as deeply carved in that Nolani put on there for herself.
Now picture this tree is probably just far enough away from the house that when you were children, this was a world apart. But it was always within shouting distance, so that way you could be called home whenever it was necessary. So you can still hear the ruckus kind of pouring out of the house, the revelry and the laughing and the talking that's going on back at the house. And you're kind of noticing this carved in the tree, and just by the light of the moon or the stars or something filtering through, something catches your eye down in like a hollow between the roots of the tree.
I'll stoop to investigate or
Something
conquer.
Kind of pale, yeah. And you look down kind of into this, it looks like it may have been like an animal burrow at some point, and there's this kind of pale cylindrical shape down in there, and reaching for it, you can feel that it's almost like paper, almost like a scroll, but it's not collapsible. Like it's got a hard core to it. And as you pull it free, you realize that it's paper wrapped around a candle. Peeling the paper back just enough, you see it is, in fact, a black candle. Similar to the ones that you saw in the crypts of Galalon. That is where we're going to end tonight's session. So, thank you everybody for tuning in this evening and watching along with us, whether you are watching live as we played or you are tuning in the future. It is greatly appreciated. If you like what you saw and you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe. I think we are, at this point, 6 subscriptions away from hitting 400 subscriptions here on the channel, and I would love to finally put that milestone behind me. So I would so appreciate that. Speaking of appreciation, these 5 players, every single time that we play this campaign, you guys bring so much to your characters, their individual story arcs, how their stories tie to the stories of the other characters and what's going on in the world. It's nothing short of just pure enjoyment, magic to watch you guys do what you do. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can give any parting words, say outros, etc., and then we're going to call it an evening. So we are going to start in reverse order-ish, because he wasn't here at the beginning. Baron, why don't you start us off?
Hey everyone, I'm Baron. I play Misaka Tord. Truthfully, I don't get to play D&D as much anymore. It's bumming me out, but I was glad I was able to catch the second half of this game and indulge a little bit. So thanks for having me. It was Good time to be back.
Yeah, man, excellent. I'm happy that you were able to make it, that we could get towards in-town business kind of taken care of before we set out on the trail for the chapter that's going to have a lot of Tord. I'm excited for that. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff, I hope, that I have planned. And yeah, Tord's going to have to deal with some shit. All right. Next up, we have Karen. I almost called you Ari. Karen.
It's always ominous when the GM says you're going to have to deal with some shit. So good luck, Tord. It's been nice knowing you and all that stuff. Well, kind of, but I love these guys. I love playing with this group. It's an amazing story. I'm glad we got to kind of dive into our characters and interactions with each other a little bit this session, and that's really cool. So really looking forward to the next session, and thank you all.
Absolutely. It's awesome because we keep learning more and more about kind of where these characters have come from and why they are the way they are, and every time something like that happens, every time something like that comes up, watching the ripples go through the other four characters that are, tangibly connected, it's a lot of fun. So I can't wait for more of that. All right, next up we have Josh.
Hey guys, my name is Josh. I played Eddard Painted Pendrake tonight. It was very good to be back. I missed y'all very much, and I had a blast as always. If you guys don't mind checking out my music, you can find it on all platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, if that's even a thing anymore, Apple Music, whatever. Just search Lovers X Leap. And my latest tape, I think, was called Crystal Cove. It's all instrumental music, so if you're into hip-hop beats and stuff like that, please check that out. Thanks again, Jeremy, for having me. It was a pleasure.
Again, man, the pleasure is all mine. I love having you guys on. I have two campaigns that are concurrently running with one another, and both of them they're just so great to run for. Yeah, just two amazing groups of players, and you guys every single time surprise me. So thank you guys for being so wonderful. Speaking of so wonderful, next up we have Steve.
I'm not that wonderful, but I do so I guess that's okay. No, awesome game as usual. It is nice to be back and playing these months in between, just too long. But also, I don't know that if we did this any more regularly, if any of us could actually handle the sheer emotion and mind. What's the good word for that? Beratement that happens. It is. It's intense. But no, awesome game. I love everybody in this, and yeah, I look forward to. I want to get to the Tord part so that Tord has to do the long emotional talking. That's what I want. Because really what I'm hoping for is Baron to cry in his Murasaka Tord voice. Because I want to see how that mashes up.
I'm sure it will be glorious. I can't wait. I'm sure he's not going to cry. There's no reason why he would cry. Okay, last. Do what?
So that's going to be terrible.
Last, but certainly not terrible, or least, Eli.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Eli Kurtz, and I stayed awake the whole time. I didn't even yawn more than 20 times. How great for me. No, it was great as always. I really appreciate bouncing off character moments with all these people. It's just so much fun. And it's fun when Sir John is really flustered, and that was him all night tonight, so that was great. You can find me on YouTube. I have an itch storefront and a drive-through RPG storefront. I've got a number of games out available for purchase. I just finished going on a camping trip this weekend, so I want to shout out my game Fireside Fables, which is formatted to be read on a smartphone screen, and it is a very simple game for telling tall tales around a campfire. With no dice, you just break sticks and throw them in the fire whenever you want to talk, and it's a good time. So go check it out. Yeah. Otherwise, thanks again, and until next time.
Perfect. Yes, everybody, thank you so much again. You are all such a joy to run a game for and to torture, because honestly, you guys seem to like it. So, I mean, saying something. But I look forward to the chapters that lie ahead of us, and yeah, I think things are going to start getting a little more interesting. So, until next time, may your dice roll high, and your snacks always be within reach.